All right, let's do it. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here today. This is great. This is my 4th time doing this today, so I feel like I'm very warmed up. I'm ready to go. You might get the best presentation so far. So luckily, the end of the day is better than the beginning. That's rare for me. All right, so my name's Shannon, and I am a tradesperson, so I'm a furniture maker, also kind of a carpenter, I would call myself, even though I'm not official. I don't have a certificate of qualification, but that's okay. We'll talk about that more. Also a construction teacher, and now I'm part of the OYAP team, which I truly love because I feel like, you know, not many students get to learn about the skilled trades and apprenticeship pathway, and it's such an incredible opportunity. So I feel very lucky that I get to talk about it every day. What we're going to talk about in this presentation is, first of all, what are the skilled trades? Start with the basics, and then we will talk about the apprenticeship pathway, because I think that is not a pathway that many people could honestly describe to you. So we'll demystify that today. We'll talk about the opportunities that are available for you and how to begin. So let's go. Your future, I think, is going to be really, really interesting and really exciting. Right now, you're in careers, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do after high school, you're trying to figure out the career you're going to pick and do for the rest of your life. No, you're not. You don't have to figure out what you're doing for the rest of your life, because on average, you will probably do 7 or 8 different careers in your lifetime. And to me, that is the exciting part. After about 6 years in a job, I'm like, I'm feeling like I want to do something new. I need a new challenge. I want to learn more. So like, you're probably going to do that many times throughout your lifetime. And that might mean that you will visit different post-secondary pathways along the way, and that's great. But I would say to you now, just try to keep your options open. So what are the skilled trades? I'm asking you to think about this. Can you think of 3 skilled trades right now? And you can yell it out in your classroom. I can't hear you, but go ahead, go yell it out. And I'm going to use telepathy right now because I'm pretty sure I know what you're saying. And I'll prove it to you later. All right, so here are some hints in case you're struggling. Maybe a little visual representation will help. Yeah. So many cool jobs there, right? Guess what? There's 144 skilled trades that you can do an official apprenticeship in Ontario. That's a lot, and they're divided up into the 4 sectors that you see here. So motive power has everything to do with fixing vehicles and engines. So it's from small engines, like maybe you're fixing chainsaw motors, to motorcycles, to vehicles like cars and trucks, and then maybe even bigger vehicles like buses or heavy duty equipment like bulldozers, things like that. So that's a very interesting sector for those that are mechanically inclined. The service sector is a much more diverse sector where it's almost like they took a bunch of things, threw it in there because they didn't know where else to put them. But in a way, they all are related to dealing with the public a little bit in some way or another. So there are things in here like arborist and baker, chef, child and youth worker. Let's see. Oh, gem setter, goldsmith. That's a pretty neat one. Horse groom. There's information technology, so you could be a hardware technician or network technician, or maybe you are interested in being a special events coordinator. Lots of things. And then the construction sector, this is what I think that you were thinking of. When you thought of the skilled trades, you probably thought carpenter, electrician, plumber. Those are the top 3 that people name when I ask that question. So maybe I read your mind. I don't know. And within that sector, you can see it's very big. There are a lot more careers than just carpenter, electrician, plumber. There are things like construction boiler maker, There's architectural glass and metal technician. Those people are very busy. Look at all the condos going up around the city with glass all over them. So they're doing that work, and then later they have to replace it because it doesn't last forever. There are things like heavy equipment operator. So you could be a bulldozer or excavator operator or even a mobile crane operator. How cool would that be to be the person up in those cranes? You could be an iron worker or a painter and decorator, maybe a power line technician. What else? What else? What else? Roofer, sheet metal worker, sprinkler and fire protection installer. Just so many different jobs here. And to me, I want to do them all. They're pretty fun. And then industrial, I like to think of this as like metal related. It's not totally true. It's somewhat true. And then sort of manufacturing leaning. So there are things like welder and tool and die maker and metal fabricator, maybe a mold designer. Ooh, surface blaster. Those are people that blow up rock to make way for roads. You could be an industrial electrician or a general machinist, or maybe a draftsperson, or even a cabinet maker. So many things, so many things here. Now, before we leave this slide, I want you to notice that there are little symbols beside some of these things. So I'm going to tell you what those mean, okay? So the ones that had a green triangle beside them, those are compulsory trades. And what that means is that you must have a certificate of qualification, or what people commonly refer to as your license, in order to work in that trade legally. So you have to have a license, or you have to be a registered apprentice, or you can be an OYAP student and you can work in those trades, okay? Now, the ones that didn't have a green triangle beside them, that means that, for example, carpentry is one of those, okay? So you don't actually have to have a license to be a carpenter. So I kind of call myself a carpenter, even though I don't have a license. I've done a lot of carpentry, and that's perfectly legal. I can go and I can do carpentry in people's houses. If I wanted to go do some electrical work in someone's house, I can't do that. That's not legal because it is a compulsory trade, okay? Now, some of them had a red maple leaf beside them, and those trades are called Red Seal trades. And that is a level of training that is recognized all across the country. So if you're trained here in Ontario and you want to go live in BC, no problem. Pack your bags, get on a plane with all your tools, and you probably start working the next day. And it's quite recognized internationally. So if you wanted to go to the States or somewhere else in the world, we are not the only country who are in need of skilled workers. We are really in need of skilled workers, especially here in Ontario. So here, currently in this province, 1 in 5 jobs is in the skilled trades. In the next decade, it's probably going to even grow more than that. But right now we're looking at 1 in 5 jobs. That's 20% of jobs are in the skilled trades. That is a ton of opportunity for you. You could leave high school tomorrow and go start working in the skilled trades and start making really good money. Don't do that yet. Finish high school, but you could. And it's growing even more, and especially in certain areas. So I don't know if you listen to the news, but if you do, you've heard all about the housing crisis probably in Ontario. So our government in Ontario wants to build a lot more housing, and that means a lot more jobs in construction. Also, advanced manufacturing is really making a comeback here. So things like when you're in a factory that's using robotics, there are people that are needed to maintain, to program those robots, and also CNC machinery. So CNC machinery is computer numeric control, and that is a machine that is run by a computer, but the computer needs to be programmed by a person at this point in time. So there are jobs for that. Who knows? The AI might take over that one. I'm not sure. They're taking over everything. Green energy, that's another sector that's totally booming. Like, I keep seeing all these electric vehicle charging stations going in all over the place. So there are a lot of people that are working on that right now. There's also solar installation, wind turbines, and those things, after they're installed, they need to be maintained as well. So it's not like your job is ever done. Technology and IT. The only way I'm able to talk to almost 500 people right now, which is incredible, is because we're all connected through the internet. So that infrastructure is put in by people and maintained by people. So there's a lot of work there as well. Now, finally, tech teachers. Did you know that starting next year, everyone that starts high school in grade 9 has to take a tech ed class, which I think is fantastic. But the problem is we don't actually have enough tech teachers. So this is a way that you can become a teacher if you want to. You can go and finish your apprenticeship, get your certificate of qualification, and go directly to teachers college. You can skip going to university and getting a degree. So you can make money and then become a teacher. Pretty great. So please do that. We need you. Why are the skilled trades so great? Well, this is a very short list, but it's not comprehensive. This is just a few things. The skilled trades are amazing. I couldn't fit all the reasons why it's so good on one slide. But first of all, I personally love working in the skilled trades. And so much so that, you know, I've been teaching now or working for the school board for, I don't know, 12 years or something. But every chance I get, every summer, even on weekends, I go back to the tools because I miss it if I don't. I really, truly do. So I'm always going back because it's like, it's a different type of work. You're using your mind, you're using your body, you're like this fine-tuned machine that's working together. And at the end of the day, you can see what you've done. Like, it's so satisfying to start with nothing and then be like, okay, I framed that entire structure today. That's pretty cool. Or somebody comes in with their vehicle that's not operating, it's been towed to you, and they're all stressed out because they can't get the kids to school on time, and you solve their problem. You fix their vehicle, you get them back on the road by the end of the day, and they're super happy. So you're changing people's lives. You really are. You're making an impact. There's an incredible demand for skilled workers, like I said before. And that's because it's because everybody's getting old and they're starting to retire. And for the last 30 years or so, we've been telling people that university and college is the way to go. That's how you're going to get a good job. It's not necessarily true anymore. And we've been overlooking this amazing pathway. So now, there it is. It's yours for the taking. Just go in and grab it. It's all yours. There's never been a better time to get into the trades. When you work in the trades, you can start your own business. And that, like, who doesn't want to be their own boss? All teenagers want to be the boss of their lives, right? Yeah. So start your own business, because when you have your own business, you are deciding who you're surrounding yourself with. Like, who are you going to hire and work beside every day? You're deciding what you're going to charge, how much money you're going to make. You decide what jobs you want to take and which ones you're like, no, thanks, I don't want that one. You decide how much vacation time you're taking and when. Like, it feels so good when you have that much freedom and control over your own life. Now, the pay is really good in the skilled trades, and it's probably going to get even better because of the demand. We just can't find enough people. So we're probably going to start paying them even more, which is great. And it's an area where you can actually still find a job that has pension and benefits. And I don't know if you know what a pension is, but it's becoming more and more rare. And it's basically like a forced savings account. So from your paycheck, some money gets set aside, and your employer typically matches that amount. So when you turn 65 and you retire and stop working, you keep getting paid basically until you die. It's amazing, right? And then having benefits, don't underestimate the value of that, because when you need to go get your teeth fixed or get a massage or physio, go to the chiropractor, anything like that, which is quite expensive, it's really nice when it's covered, and it really increases your quality of life. Okay, so we've talked about the skilled trades. Now we're going to talk about the apprenticeship pathway, which is a way to work in the skilled trades. It's the post-secondary pathway that doesn't get talked about enough. And it includes on-the-job learning as well as in-school sessions. And one of the great things about learning this way is you're learning by doing. And for me, that's my favorite way to learn. But in addition to that, you have one teacher that is assigned to you. Like, you're not in a class full of hundreds of people all day. Like, you have one teacher and you're doing this job and you get immediate feedback from that person. You're doing something and they're like, oh, let me show you this other way that I do this. That's faster and better and whatever. It's just such a great way to learn. So 90% of the time you're actually on the job, learning, working, getting paid. 10% of the time you're going to school. And it looks like this. This is a traditional apprenticeship pathway where you would graduate from high school, then you get a job working in the trade, you become registered as an apprentice, and then you start working. So you work for about a year, and then the Ministry of Labor, Immigration Training and Skills Development will invite you to come do your in-school training. And that's a 2-month block in most cases. That's your level 1. So once you complete that, you go back to work. Then you do your level 2, another 2 months in school. Back to work again. Well, actually, sorry, some trades are only 2 levels of in-school training. So you'd be complete there. You could work a little bit longer and then write your exam. Other trades take a bit longer. So you need to do another in-school session. Then you can get your certificate of apprenticeship once you've completed all your hours, write your final exam, and then you have your certificate of qualification, or what's called your license. Now, each one of these in-school training blocks, guess how much they cost? I'm going to blow your mind right now, I think. Maybe I won't, but they're only $500. And that's because 85% of it is subsidized by the government. And not only that, you can collect employment insurance while you're going to school. Wild. At the end, this is what you get, your certificate of qualification. Be very, very proud of this. It took a lot to earn it. Put it up on your wall, just like you would with any other degree or diploma. This one has a red seal on it, so that person can work anywhere in Canada. First, last name can work anywhere in Canada. All right, so depending on what you want to do, you're going to have to probably get a post-secondary education of some sort, right? And depending on what you want to do, you may not have a choice what that is. Like, if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you have to go to university. There's no way around it. If you want to work in the skilled trades, the best way to do that is through an apprenticeship. No matter what you want to do, I encourage you to think about it. I didn't. I went to university straight from high school, and I do not have a good reason for why I did that. The reason was people were telling me I should do it. So I did. And at the end of my 4 years in university, I was like, oh my God, I do not know what I'm going to do with this degree. So I ended up actually going back to school. I went to college for another 3 years. And then I became a furniture maker and did like an informal apprenticeship. So, you know, I encourage you to think about it. That's all I'm saying. So let's take a look at the return on investment. So you're going to invest time into your post-secondary education. You're going to invest money into your post-secondary education and effort, which is hard to qualify. But the time to complete here for all 3 is very similar. We're looking at 2 to 5 years for an apprenticeship, 1 to 3 for college, and then 3 to 5 for university. It's not that different. The tuition cost is significantly different for each pathway. For university, we're looking at an average tuition cost of $7,500 per year. That is not including books. That's not including, like, if you move away and you live in residence and you get a meal plan, all of those things really add up. College, the average tuition is $4,500 per year. An apprenticeship, like I said on the slide before, we're looking at $400 to $600 per year, like $500 a year. Big difference, big difference. So if you don't have someone who's going to pay for your education, or you don't have a big RESP, then you're probably going to have to get a loan. And I did that. I had $40,000 in student debt, and it took me until I was 35 years old to pay it off. all of those years, I was not able to save any money. I was just busy working to pay off my debt. That was really tough, really, really tough. And if I could do it all again, I would do it in the opposite order. I would do the apprenticeship first, because then I would have zero debt and I would have money in the bank if I then wanted to go to college or university. Otherwise, you're looking at an average student debt of $32,000 for people who go to university. And I actually think that's on the low side. College, $26,000. Let's do a fun little math exercise, okay? So the average apprentice makes $40,000 to $60,000 a year throughout their apprenticeship. Okay, so let's say they do a 5-year apprenticeship and they're making $50,000 a year. So what's 50,000 times 5? Yell it out. Did you say $250,000? Genius. Yes, that is true. $250,000. So basically you're like, okay, so add 32,000 to that. So you're now at $282,000. That's how far ahead you are of your friend that went to university and spent the same amount of time as you did. You're almost $300,000 ahead of them. Very, very different place starting off your adult life, where you can save money instead of paying off debt. Now, this last column is the percentage of jobs in the marketplace that require that level of education. So 12% of jobs right now require a university level education, 26% college, and 30% apprenticeship. Okay, so if you don't know what you want to do, I would suggest to you that maybe you could consider trying a career that doesn't cost you anything and pays you instead to learn. And you can try it out and see if you like it. And if not, go to college, go to university. Now you have money in the bank, because you're earning the whole time you're learning in an apprenticeship. So how do you start? The first thing I would suggest to you is to take tech ed. If you have that in your school, take it. It's so fun. Those courses are really fun. And also you're learning skills that are going to be really useful throughout the rest of your life. So take as much tech as you can. If you don't have a lot of tech in your school, you could consider taking a dual credit in tech. And that means you're taking a college course at a college, like 1 day a week or 1 afternoon a week. You're going to a college and you're taking one course. So you get to try out college, see what that's like, which is really cool. And then you're getting a college credit as well as a high school credit for that course. Now, if you have a specialist high skills major in your school, you might want to do that. And then you can focus more on those tech classes that you really love. If your school doesn't have a SHISM that you're interested in, like let's say you're interested in construction SHISM and your school doesn't have it, you can actually transfer to another school through what's called the FAST program. So a school that's out of your district even, you can go there to do that program. Now, the hardest part of an apprenticeship, because unlike university and college, it's not like you go to a website and you apply and you put in your money and you hope that you get in. It's not like that. It's a little more active. So to start an apprenticeship, you need to get hired in that trade. And that can be challenging if you don't have the skills and experience that employers are looking for, because then they have to teach you everything and they have to pay you. So they don't love that scenario. The solution is co-op. If you take co-op, and you can do this starting in grade 11, then you actually will go, you're getting high school credits to go to a job or try a job, see if you like it. And in the meantime, you're gaining like real world on the job experience doing this thing. Even more importantly, you have the opportunity to show an employer what you're made of. If you're someone that shows up every single day on time, you have this amazing attitude, you learn quickly, you work hard, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want to hire this kid and send me 3 more like them. This is such an amazing opportunity you don't even understand. So take advantage of it. And even if you're not interested in the skilled trades, like I would suggest that you do a co-op placement in any job that you think you want to do before you go and invest like years in post-secondary education to get to that job, to then find out you don't like it. Try it before you buy it. Okay, you can do OYAP through co-op. OYAP always happens through co-op. You just have to be 15 years old and have 14 credits to do it. Now, if you want to work on a construction site, legally you have to be 16. So in some cases, if you have a late birthday, you might have to wait until second semester in order to do that. So this is the way, this is how you do your apprenticeship. If you do co-op, you impress that employer, you can be registered as an official apprentice through OYAP, through high school. And then hopefully that employer really likes you, they hire you, and then boom, you continue your apprenticeship. It's that easy. You can do it now, well, starting next year. If you're in grade 10 right now, in grade 11, you can start this program. And the most simple way to do it is through what's called classic OYAP. And that is just a co-op placement in a skilled trade. You're then considered an OYAP student, and the hours that you do can actually be counted towards your total apprenticeship hours. And all you have to do is select co-op when it comes to course selection time. Now, if you are kind of like, yeah, this sounds really interesting. I'm interested in a skilled trades career, but you have no idea which one, and how would you know if you've never tried it? These programs, the specialized trades exploration programs, are an amazing way to try out a whole bunch of careers. So we have two programs. The first is in the construction sector. So this construction site basically becomes your classroom for a semester. Like, how cool is that? I want to do that. And then you get to rotate through with all the different tradespeople that are there. You spend like 2 weeks at a time with all the people that are working on that site. It is such an amazing program. It's a 5-credit program, so you're doing four co-op credits. You're doing all-day co-op. Plus, you're going to George Brown on Fridays to get a construction health and safety dual credit. The other program that we have is called Step to Transportation. This is in partnership with the TTC. So you're going to go to a maintenance facility like this amazing one you see here in this picture, and you'll be fixing all the vehicles in the TTC fleet, working alongside all the different tradespeople that are there. Again, such an amazing opportunity. And you also go do a dual credit in welding at George Brown. So you learn to weld and you get to see what college is like. It's pretty cool. Now, there's another program that's a pre-apprenticeship cooperative education program, and this one is in partnership with our own TDSB facilities and maintenance people. So if you want to try out a trade, but you want to stay in a more familiar school environment, this is a great way to do that. But you have to pick one of these trades. It's not an exploration program like the STEP programs. You pick one of these trades and then you travel around the TDSB with one of those people fixing our schools, and we're all very grateful because they need it. Thank you. And then specialized OYAP. Okay, so far we've talked about programs that are available to you in grade 11. This program is a grade 12, or even you might want to come back and do a 5th year to do this program because you have to transfer to Central Tech. And it's worth it, believe me. It's an amazing program. It's like doing a college trades and techniques program, but it's free. So you'd go to Central Tech, and in the first semester, you will spend pretty much your whole day doing tech classes. And you're taught by teachers that are licensed in that trade, which is amazing. And then in the second semester, you'll spend the majority of the time at a co-op placement learning on the job. Employers really love the students that come through this program because they come to them already with a lot of skills and experience. So you're much more likely to be offered a job. These are the programs that are offered: carpentry, electrical, hairstyling, hospitality, which is cook and baker, plumbing, and then transportation, which is auto service, or it also could lead to truck and coach technician. Okay, another program that is geared towards a grade 12 student. So I want to tell you about these things because they do require some pathway planning. For accelerated, sorry. For accelerated OYAP, it's a combination of co-op, and you will go to a college or a union training center and get your level 1, which is really incredible. It's only available in semester 2. So that means you have to get all your compulsory credits done by the end of semester 1. Grade 12 English is your only compulsory credit actually in grade 12. So you want to do that in the first semester. It's a 6-credit program. You'll be doing 4 co-op credits and 2 dual credits. You're basically knocking off this first year of your apprenticeship while you're in grade 12. Pretty cool, eh? All right, so there are a number of trades that we have in this program, and by the time you get to grade 12, they might be different because we're always trying to grow and offer more, but right now this is what we have. So automotive service technician and auto collision repair, both are at Centennial College. Baking, we have at Humber and George Brown. Brick and stone mason, this is at a really cool training center out near Mississauga. So I would suggest to all of you, if you want to work in the skilled trades, it's a really good idea to get your driver's license as soon as possible because it can actually work against you at some point if you don't have it. Child and youth worker, this is at Centennial College. Cook, which is at George Brown and Humber. This one, construction craft worker, is at a union. So when I say union, you think pension and benefits. That is what comes with a union. Also, a little bit higher wages and somewhat better job security. So I would, like a lot of people would love to work in a union because of those reasons. This is a really huge construction union, the biggest one in North America. And by the time you're in this program, it'll probably be back. So that's totally a possibility. Electrician, for some reason, everyone wants to be an electrician. I don't know why. My dad was an electrician. It's fine. It's good. Whatever. I didn't go there. But if you do want to be an electrician, I really suggest that you take physics. It's a really good idea. And if you ever want to get into the electrical union, they do require it. We have this at George Brown and Humber. Floor covering installer. Now, this is a trade that appeals to a lot of people who don't want to work in the freezing cold in the winter because you're indoors installing flooring in these big projects like hospitals and schools, things like that. This is a union as well. It's the College of Carpenters and Allied Trades. It's Local 27. Local 27 also trains our carpenters, and they work in the ICI sector. So that's in industrial, commercial, institutional. That's what sector that is. So you're building schools, hospitals, big manufacturing facilities, government projects, things like that. George Brown also offers this program. Hairstyling, crazy, but to become a hairstylist, a lot of people go to a private college and they pay like $10,000 to do their levels, when you can do it for free through this program at Studio 500, which is inside of Burnhamthorpe Collegiate. Drywall, this is a paid co-op placement. So they're paying $26 an hour for a 17-year-old to be doing their co-op placement. Pretty awesome. Plumbing, George Brown and Humber. Refrigeration and air conditioning systems mechanic. That's a very long trade name, but it's part of HVAC. And HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. It's kind of like being a bit of a plumber and a bit of an electrician. It's a cool trade that way. It's very in demand, pays really well, something to consider if you're into either of those trades. And then tile setter, you're actually doing terrazzo, tile, and marble. If you don't know what terrazzo is, then walk out into the hallway of your school and look down. If it's that speckly floor, it's terrazzo. And that can be like such an artistic and detail-oriented trade. It's quite fascinating. And then truck and coach technician and heavy-duty equipment technician, those are the last two, and they're both at Centennial College. Both of these are very much in demand and pay even better than auto service technician. So if you're mechanically inclined, you might want to consider those. What else does OYAP offer? So we help support students with transportation costs. We provide PPE. If you need a hard hat, work boots, safety glasses, gloves, any of those things, we provide that. And for accelerated students, you do require a pretty extensive toolkit and very expensive textbooks. So we loan those things out, so the burden of that isn't on the student. And really the whole point of these programs is to get hired so that you can continue your apprenticeship. If for some reason that doesn't happen, your employer can't hire you, then we have transition job coaches that will help you to find the next job. And they work through July, through the summer, and they're very, very good. Now, maybe this is a little early for you, but if you're like, wow, some of these programs sound amazing, I want to learn more. For Accelerated OYAP, we have an information night next Wednesday at 7 p.m. And it's virtual, so you can go to oyaptdsb.com to the events page and you can register, okay? And then the Humber Trades Open House, so that's electrician and plumber at Humber. That open house, you can go in person to Humber on November 2nd, and it's at 6:30 in the evening. The application deadline for Accelerated is coming up November 10th. STEP is on the 17th. December 1st is PACE, and February 9th is Specialized. So I know that it might be a little early for some of you, and you're going to have an opportunity next semester to apply to these programs for grade 11. As in particular, STEP and PACE, those are very applicable to grade 11, and those application deadlines will be coming out in May. How do you apply? It's really, really simple. So for classic OYAP, where you're doing a placement in a skilled trade, all you have to do is select co-op when it's course selection time. For the other programs, you just need to sit down with your guidance counselor or co-op teacher. It's a 5-minute application. It's no big deal. And then if you want more information at all about skilled trades or apprenticeships, or if you have questions that I can answer or any of my colleagues can answer, you can find our contact information on our website, which is oyaptdsb.com. Okay. Now, speaking of questions, happy to take them. You can type them into the Q&A if you want, or teachers, you're welcome to unmute and ask questions for your students. That's awesome as well. If you don't have any questions in your class, then thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to tell you about this because it's amazing and I want everyone to know about it. And I wish you a great day. Thanks for being here, but I'll be here for your questions, so hit me.